Tonight, a man arrested and charged over a terrifying armed hold-up in Port Lincoln. And strap on the high heels, the Broken Heel Festival rolls into the Silver City.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Staff have been left terrorised after an armed robbery in Port Lincoln. It's alleged a 42-year-old man threatened workers at a bottle shop with a knife, but police have praised the quick thinking of witnesses, which led to his arrest.
A terrifying ordeal. Staff left shaken after a man allegedly threatened them with a knife.
It's always a concern when anybody's brandishing a weapon in a public place, let alone threatening people for money.
At 10:45 last night, police say a man approached the Lincoln cellars off Tasman Terrace, where he entered and began threatening staff with a knife and demanding money. Employees helplessly watched on as the man allegedly ransacked the till before stealing a bottle of wine. Making no attempt to hide his face or appearance, police say he then proceeded to leave the scene on foot along Tasman Terrace. Witnesses say the man soon entered the nearby Pier Hotel.
We were able to respond extremely quickly through some really good detective work of our police.
Police quickly swooped on the hotel, while managers from the pier helped coordinate his capture. Detectives entered the upstairs apartment to discover the man making himself a cup of tea, the stolen bottle of wine in the bar fridge. He was arrested and refused bail. This morning, crime scene detectives were still investigating the scene.
The message is that if you want to commit crime in Port Lincoln, the community and the police will work together, we'll act quickly, and we will take decisive and affirmative action when we locate the offenders.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The first employee payouts from the sale of Areum have been passed on to workers who left the company during the administration. Cordamentha says it's the first of a number of entitlement payouts that will flow to those who are owed money. John Hunt has more.
Areum collapsed in April last year, owing $4 billion to banks, trade creditors and employees. Now 16 months on from that day, and a week since GFG Alliance officially took over, those who left Areum during the administration period have finally been paid their entitlements. They were collectively owed $7.1 million in accrued leave, superannuation and other entitlements.
They get paid before any trade supplier, for instance, who is a trade creditor. And this is the first payment.
Around 100 were based in South Australia. They'll be paid 100 cents in the dollar, something Mr. Mentha says doesn't always happen.
Had Areum gone into liquidation, then the period would have been a lot longer, and of course a lot more complicated and a lot more employees.
With priority creditors now paid, trade suppliers will be paid next as the sale process continues. Investigations are also continuing into the conduct of senior management prior to the company's administration.
What took place in management prior to our appointment, and whether there's any insurance funds that we can get access to as a result of if indeed there's been any wrongdoing.
So it's welcome relief for so many people who have waited a long time to get what they're owed. It's the beginning of the end of a challenging year and a half for so many people caught up in this saga.
A 14-year-old boy will face court on traffic offences after a collision at Whyalla Stewart. Just before 9 p.m. on Wednesday, police spotted the boy travelling along Jenkins Avenue on a dirt bike without number plates and lights. Officers say he then crashed on nearby Barrett Crescent, where he received minor injuries. He's been released on bail and will face court in October. Port Pirie Council is advising residents not to buy fruit from travelling street vendors. It claims the vendors have been illegally selling strawberries amid concerns over whether the fruit is safe for consumption.
Selling strawberries out of the back of a van parked on Florence Street, leaving some disgusted at the lack of hygiene.
A colleague saw an illegal seller repacking strawberries in the back of a van on the mattress that he sleeps on.
The threat of contamination now a concern for council, which is unable to verify if the fruit is safe to consume.
Strawberries that you really only wash them off, you don't peel them, so there's no protection from the outside world. If they're being transported incorrectly, they can be contaminated.
There are also claims the vendors are taking vital business away from local shops, who have been forced to waste the leftover stock.
It's also not fair for the local vendors who do things as they're required to do.
It's affected us in the way that we're stuck with all of this stock. So that puts local businesses out of pocket as well in a way.
Under the Food Act, it is an offence to sell food on the street without permission from council. It is free to do so, and council says it isn't hard to follow the rules.
Filling out a form and sending it to us so we know who you are, what you're doing, where you're doing and how you're doing it. Simple.
Residents who have purchased strawberries from street vendors have been asked to send the packaging into council in a bid to crack down on the practice. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, all the glitz and glamour as our Silver City is transformed for the Broken Hill Festival. That's next. Welcome back. Applications are now open for round 2 of a community assistant grant program in Broken Hill. City Council is encouraging community groups to submit an application before the deadline at the end of October.
If you've got an event or something you think could use a little push forward, then now's your chance.
It's a good opportunity for our local groups, our local NGOs, community groups to apply for funds.
$62,000 is available to eligible organisations who want to hold activities, events or programs between January and June next year.
Last time I think we had around 16 applications. It is a tough program, but our council staff are here to help you, and we encourage everybody to think about applying for these grants.
Daria says council staff will be on hand to provide help with the application process and to make sure you're eligible for the funding.
This is an opportunity for those NGOs. They do it tough, they're very small sometimes, and we want to make sure we provide the community assistance grants to give them some support in how they deliver to our community.
Applications close on October 31. For more information about the Community Assistance Grants Program, visit the Council Administrative Centre. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
A major jobs expo will soon roll into Port Augusta in a bid to boost employment in the state's booming industries. The town will be one of 3 locations chosen for the initiative, featuring presentations from defence, IT, mining and tourism companies.
Manufacturing is out, mining and defence are in, and the state government hopes to show job seekers where the jobs growth lies. Port Augusta is one of 3 locations chosen to host JobX.
But this is by far the biggest of job type expo that we've held in South Australia before. And it brings together more companies than we've seen before, and we expect more participants than any other sort of expo like this.
To be held in November, the State Employment Minister says SA is moving on from manufacturing, and the expo will showcase jobs that have a brighter future in the region.
South Australia, we've been very good at and relied upon traditional manufacturing with the automotive industry, with Mitsubishi and Chrysler in the past, and with Holden are closing in 43 days from now. We are moving into different areas.
Port Augusta is one of only 3 locations in South Australia to host JobX, which will include displays from companies like Santos and Fleet Space Technologies. With traditional industries on their way out of SA's economy, the state government says the expo will showcase jobs from new and growing industries.
We know that in areas like Port Augusta there are going to be some very different and very high-tech jobs in the future with Sundrop Farm, with the new solar plant that's going to be in Port Augusta, and with the transition of Areum in Whyalla.
Those interested in attending Port Augusta's JobX can register their interest online. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, if you see someone from the Port Lincoln Council taking your bins away, don't be alarmed. Random bins are going to be collected over the coming weeks as part of a waste audit in order to reduce the amount of rubbish going to landfill.
There's never been a more important time to be taking out the trash. Over the next 3 years, the state government will net $64 million for their solid waste levy, and councils are beginning to feel the pinch.
Under pressure to reduce the amount of the tonnes that are going to landfill. So we want to properly understand what is going in the bins now.
The audit, beginning at the end of this month, will examine 100 random waste and recycle bins. It'll be the first time residents will have their contents studied in a bid to reduce unnecessary waste disposal.
We're really wanting to understand is collectively what's being collected.
Council says there's no need to be alarmed about privacy either.
There'll be no way that the bins that are randomly collected can be, or the contents of those bins can be linked back to the household. That's not the intention.
Another issue that'll be addressed is the possibility of introducing a green waste bin, with some major cities already using them.
How could we do it differently? What would those cost impact be? If we need to tackle green waste, this will be the cost.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, Broken Hill has been transformed into the drag queen capital as the Broken Hill Festival kicks off in the Silver City tonight. Patrick Reinke joins us from the Palace Hotel now, and today was full of preparations, Pat.
You are absolutely right, Fraser. The annual event that celebrates everything about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, is getting underway as we speak. Now, I'm here in the Priscilla Suite, where some guests will stay, and I've got to tell you, looking around, it is absolutely glamorous in here, and it's glamorous anywhere you look right now. Now, setting up for this event started late a Thursday night and it finished this afternoon. The iconic bus is now in place. Sulphide Street has been cordoned off. The bar is fully stocked and the gigantic, dazzling silver stiletto is right next to the main stage. Now, last night, the Broken Hill Silver City Stiletto train service arrived from Sydney, bringing plenty of festival goers to Broken Hill. They were greeted with a warm welcome from an excited crowd. Some were already looking the part. Around 700 tickets had been sold for the festival, and I caught up with organiser Esther Laudrevere to talk about how the celebration is shaping up.
Be our biggest event this year, and happy faces in here last night. People really excited to be here. I think one of the flights got delayed. We had people sort of checking in after midnight last night with flights coming in very late. But they weren't phased, and just very happy to be out here. Hopefully everyone in town is feeling the love and seeing all these colourful people around and embracing the spirit. So hopefully everyone can join us in really having a wonderful time here.
Now, Fraser, the festival has literally just started here, with the Palace operating with extended trading hours over the weekend. The fun continues tomorrow with the street parade at 1 o'clock in Argent Street and a wide range of performances later at night. The fun will push on into Sunday with a session in Silverton and then more action back here at the Palace. Now, there is still time to grab your tickets for this glitzy and glamorous event, pick up a boa like I have and get into the spirit. Fraser, the third annual Broken Hill Festival is underway here at the Palace Hotel, and I've got to tell you, it's absolutely fabulous, darling.
Getting into the full swing of things as usual, Pat. Thank you, Patrick Reinke in Broken Hill there. Well, when we return after the break, finals fever in the Whyalla Football League. All the last-minute details next. Welcome back. Residents will soon be able to have their say on how the Port Augusta Council spends a share of $155 million allocated to a number of councils in South Australia. The Local Government Grants Commission will hold a hearing at the council chambers to hear from the public and council staff.
Granting more than a wish, in 2 months' time, the South Australian Local Government's Grant Commission will pay a visit to Port Augusta to discuss a share of $155 million. The Deputy Mayor says it's a chance for the community to have their say.
It gives the community an opportunity to put forward what they believe they would look at funding for and what they would like in their city and the region.
After the Commonwealth Financial Assistance grants were ceased for several years, it's been revived and will be split between 74 council areas in the state.
Just been reopened. It was frozen for a period, but thankfully it's been reopened, and that's a fantastic thing for all councils concerned, particularly the Port Augusta Council. We'll take the opportunity in both hands and work through what we would look at getting the funding for.
Jetty's closed for 3 years and the appearance of the town will be high on the Port Augusta Council's agenda, and if granted, any amount would help the Port Augusta Council's operating deficit.
It can in some respects, but in our asset deficit it can assist in that, and it'll assist us to be able to do more than what we can do at the moment. So yeah, it will assist in some kind.
Residents wanting to attend are encouraged to register their interest with the Commission or come forward to Council with their ideas and issues ahead of the November hearing. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, it's grand final weekend in the Whyalla Football League with West and Centrals to battle it out for the top prize. A win for West would see it secure back-to-back undefeated premierships. However, the Roosters are aiming to pull off the greatest grand final upset in recent times.
Western Centrals were taking no risks at training ahead of Saturday's big game. Both sides go into the match knowing it'll be won or lost in the midfield.
If we get on top in the middle, give our forwards use of the ball, I think we'll be able to kick enough goals to win.
Starts in the middle, you know, we've got Nick de Jong, who's a fantastic ruckman. They've also got some very good young players.
A win for West would see it take out back-to-back flags undefeated. Ian Mills and Saul Tonkin lead their defence, while captain Brandon Everett heads up a talented forward line, supported by Ben Butler, Matthew Holmes and Aaron Smith. But the team will be without key midfielder Dylan Everett, after suffering a serious leg injury against North.
In my opinion, he's probably been the best player in the town all year, so it's a big loss for us, but it gives us that bit of motivation as well.
Centrals have won 2 sudden death finals to make their first decider since 2013. Nick de Jong recently finished top 5 in the Whyalla News medal, supported by an able midfield including Greg Vakoulis and Marco Tasnell. Twice this year there's been just a few goals in it at the last change, and the coach is backing the team's pacey forward line.
We've got a couple of players there now that are quite fast, and hopefully Westie's backmen have got a bit of speed, or otherwise we might leave them behind.
The game begins at 2:30. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
And as we approach the end of the footy finals, the stakes in the tips are getting high as well. Let's see what our experts are thinking this week.
Hello and welcome to the first week of finals in SGL football. We start with the qualifying final on Saturday between Solies and South, with the winner of this one going straight through to the grand final. This match will be of a high standard, featuring 6 of the top 8 Madigan medal vote getters, including Madigan medalist Darcy Kildare of South Augusta. The last time these two sides met, it was South that jumped out of the blocks, putting 5 goals on in a hurry, only to be run over by a rampant Solly, resulting in a 12-goal victory to the Cats. I'm expecting this match to be much tighter than that game, and this will be a bruising encounter. I'm tipping Sollies. On Sunday in Port Augusta, it's the elimination final between West and the Lions. These two met last round, where the Lions took the points in a match that never really reached any great heights. West have been inconsistent all year, but the Lions will be well aware that West's best is very good. The Lions will need to start this match like they did last week, but must improve their accuracy when kicking for goal. Both teams will be throwing everything at this one. I'm tipping the Lions.
West Whyalla again making it through to yet another grand final, but this year they're taking on Central Whyalla, who had a big win last week against North Whyalla in the prelim final in what was a bit of an upset. Centrals have done well to make this year's grand final. They actually only won 7 games out of 15, so in theory they've had a losing season, but they pulled their finger out at the right time and got to the big dance. They like their chances. They think they could cause an upset. If they get close to West around half-time, they may be able to get some doubt into the minds of the West players, but West are clear favourites. They've won every game this year. They won every game last year. The last time they played Centrals, they almost won by about 90 points. So West are clear favourites in what should be a great day.
Welcome to Portlinga Footy Tips and the second semi-final, where we see Mallee Park taking on Waybacks at Centenary Oval. The winner of this game goes straight to the grand final, and the loser gets a second chance. You won't hear me say this too often, but I think this game comes down to one player, Graham Johncock. He'd been named on the team sheet but hurt his hamstring a few weeks ago. He missed the last time these two teams met, and Waybacks got the win. Waybacks, on the other hand, have a fantastic mixture of experience and youth. In saying that, I think the game's too important. Graham will play, and Mallee Park will win by 3 goals.
Do stay with us. I'll have all your weekend weather details next. Welcome back. Taking a look at the weather now. A fine day for most of the region. 19 the top in Port Augusta, 17 for Whyalla, 17 also in Broken Hill. Showers for Port Pirie, also 17. A rainy day in Adelaide as well, with just a cool top of 15. On the satellite, scattered cloud across the nation's southeast with a cold front is bringing showers and alpine snow. Cloud across the west combined with a low pressure trough is bringing patchy rain and storms over inland and southern areas. On the Gulf waters, southerly winds tomorrow, 10 to 15 knots. Seas at a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise just before 6:30. Sunset at 6:05. Sunny skies right across the regional centres tomorrow. 21 the top in Port Augusta, 18 for Whyalla, 17 in Broken Hill, 14 for Clare, 16 also in Kadina. Cloudy though for Port Lincoln and Adelaide with temps in the mid-teens. On the outlooks, a fine day over the weekend in Port Lincoln. Some showers about on Tuesday though, with a top of 19. Warming up as we start next week in Cleve, a warm top of 27. 30 degrees for Woodner on Monday too. Sunny skies across the weekend and the start of the working week for Whyalla, 25 the top, 31 for Monday in Port Augusta, cooling ever so slightly on Tuesday just to 30 degrees. Temps will warm on Monday for Kadina, a top of 24 before cooling down to 20 on Tuesday. 28 the top on Monday for Port Pirie before some showers on Tuesday with a max of 24. Clare will see the mercury rise to 23 with clear skies before a little rain on Tuesday and a warm 27 for Broken Hill on Monday before it warms up again to 30 degrees on Monday. And that's all from the Southern Cross newsroom for now. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your weekend. Good night.